to have you here with us, sir, today. On behalf of our audience, we extend a very warm welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to be here with us. So, sir, you have been with HSBC for over a decade now, holding leadership roles across finance and risk domains. Could you share with us how your journey at HSBC began and what has kept you motivated throughout the years?
So, I would say HSBC was a kind of accident for me. It was like a knock from the HR, and they said they have a role into risk domain, and I was like in my current role at that time, I was with TCS managing risk. I said, okay, let's give a try, because I had worked with ICICI earlier into risk, so banking was something which was always like my favorite domain. And it worked, it didn't work, it worked, it didn't work. It took a lot of time, and then finally I got an offer and joined HSBC in risk role. And moment I entered HSBC, I would say 1 week, 10 days, it was like a reality check for me. As in, this was my first multinational exposure, and the way things worked, the way the processes were like quite different from what I had experienced in my corporate career 12 years before HSBC. So, first and foremost thing for me was important to adapt. Eventually I took my time, but yeah, I adapted to the role. And when I started understanding HSBC, I realized that it's a huge ocean with immense opportunities to learn. So, what I decided, although risk is my core domain, if I have to take maximum benefit of this organization, I should keep shuffling roles, I should keep changing roles. Luckily, HSBC promotes what you call cross-functional training and skill sets. I got opportunity to work in finance operations domain. I worked with in those domains. I worked in liquidity reporting. I worked in regulatory reporting. I worked in Pillar 3 publications, and currently I am managing regulatory projects. So you can see like 12-13 years with HSBC, and it is like multiple roles, multiple exposures. Those are the kind of opportunities I got. And what was really important was to tap that right opportunity at the right time. It was important, if I am getting an opportunity, to make that conscious decision, taking that conscious risk, whether this is the right thing for me at this point in time. If it felt good, I went for it. There were roles, there were opportunities which I denied also, because probably for my long-term aspirations, it didn't probably match at that time. Do I regret those decisions? I am a kind of person who takes accountability of whatever I decide and take a learning and move on. So, human, yes, there could be regrets, but accountability is mine.
That's fascinating, sir. So, like having navigated through different roles, from finance operations to regulatory reporting, you have seen the industry evolve significantly. So, how do you think technological transformation and automation have reshaped financial compliance and reporting today?
I think technology is something which is changing faster than we can adapt. The tools which I am using today didn't exist probably 5 years ago. The tools you guys are learning today will probably not exist when you actually enter the market. So, the way, like I would say, things like AI, blockchain, the way they have transformed the market is huge. It's important that we keep that curiosity growing. It's important that we play along. When I say play along, it's like whatever is coming our way, embrace, adapt. Because AI potential is immense. It has changed the way we work completely. PM, I got a call. I picked it up. That was automated call from my bank. And that call, just for those 5,000 rupees, said, we have noticed an unusual activity on your account. There is a cash withdrawal which is from a location which is different from your home location. Please confirm if the transaction is made. Please press 1 if the transaction is made by you. I pressed 1, sorted. But did you see these things 5 years ago? So at least I have that certainty. If there is slightest of unusual activity, there is some AI working with some algorithm somewhere which will probably flag it real time. Blockchain. It's making life easy. It's like the blockchain transaction is tamper proof. It's like frauds will be minimized. Think of a scenario where, say for example, in the real estate world, all your land deeds, they are on blockchain. Right now you see a lot of Benami properties, these land deeds, multiple land deeds exist for the same land. You don't know which one is real, which one is fake. So blockchain is really reshaping it, the way we are working. So what is important is we all need to stay curious, understand the technology, embrace it. I'm not asking you guys to learn coding, but you need to understand the underlying algorithm. That is very, very important for you guys. That if you know how technology is actually behaving, actually working, you can actually use it for your benefit. Remember one thing, you need to drive technology. Technology shouldn't drive you. It's a kind of, it can be a co-pilot for you. But you are the main pilot. You should know when to land and where to land.
Sir, it was quite insightful. Like in the end, you said that there are chances that technology might drive you. So, sir, can you elaborate a little bit on the ethical risk on the financial side that might be possible?
Now, that is something I would say really scary these days. Technology is changing, is evolving, and right now there are very few or very limited guardrails around the technology. So those guardrails are something which are extremely important. So let's take an example. How is AI working? AI is learning from the historical data. Historical data of whom? Humans. Humans have what? Bias. Means human decisions were biased. Those decisions were used to train AI. So what does AI automatically imbibe? That bias. Now imagine, say, loan application process. If you are using AI to decide whether a particular loan application needs to be accepted or rejected, and AI is using that bias to decide it, why do I need AI? How do we remove that bias is extremely important. So human judgment, like I use the term HI, that's human intelligence. HI created AI, and as we say, baap baap hota hai. So HI will always remain that baap of AI, and that judgment still needs to lie with us. we need to ensure that we don't get into that comfort zone, that we stop questioning the output of AI. So, while AI will help, or rather is these days helping, reshaping a lot of things, it is important to take that judgmental call. Whatever output I am getting, whether that is correct, whether it is something what I really want, whether it is like aligned to what I am looking forward to. So those guardrails are still missing, I would say, or still very less, because regulators are not even able to keep pace with the changing world. We bring one guardrail, so something new comes up. So Europe, if you are aware, we have GDPR, Global Data Privacy Rules. India, we have DPDP, which has just kicked in, Data Privacy and Digital, something like that. That act has come up. So data privacy is something which is extremely important and that needs to be guarded. Because what we need to understand, if these AI tools, ChatGPT, blockchain and stuff, if they are changing my process, reducing my existing risk, they are coming up with a new risks, set of risks as well. How do we manage those risks is something which is still evolving. So it's important that we stay relevant and use that human judgment, human intelligence very judiciously to ensure that we do not really do any kind of mess up when it comes to AI or automation tools.
It was quite insightful, sir. So now I'll ask a little bit about the financial and risk sides of the spectrum. So, sir, my question is, India's financial ecosystem is a little volatile. So, what key financial indicators do you monitor the most closely?
To me, in this volatile world, if you monitor credit growth versus deposit growth, that is more than sufficient. Why? Because these two are underlying pillars of the economy. If credit growth outpaces the deposit growth for a certain or for a significant period of time, stress develops in the market. Likewise, if deposit growth outpaces, then that means the confidence is returning in the market. So these two sentiments, they will really help you even tell about, say, market liquidity position, the macroeconomic indicators where the world economy might be heading, or maybe early warning signals if something is going to happen. Of course, you will not get to know two things like, say, COVID happened. But still, whether my market is going to go up, go down, whether I am about to hit a recession, these indicators to me, they tell that story. And what is important is not to just monitor numbers, understand that why behind them, because these numbers, they tell you the sentiments, so they have an underlying story. So as finance professionals, it is important knowing your technical knowledge, your ratios and everything. That is I would say extremely important, but understanding that sentiment, understanding that number, understanding that why behind that number, understanding why that rupee is still sitting in the balance sheet, what it is earning for you, what it is enabling for you, that storytelling is extremely important. If you are able to understand that, then you can beat that volatility of the market.
Okay, sir. So you have also noticed that you have led several initiatives around risk management and SOX compliance. So, could you tell us about a challenge you have faced while implementing risk control frameworks and what strategies helped you overcome it?
I think one of the biggest challenge I would say was probably in my early days of career was around having that mindset that lift and shift works. So we created global capability centers in India. Work from other countries was getting migrated to India, and what I thought that the way the things are being done, say for example in UK, they can be replicated as is in India. But in India, dynamics are different, markets are different, the talent pool is different, the way we work is different. And I got complacent and my process crashed. And it crashed completely. It was important to rebuild it from scratch. And because that was taking the confidence of my top leadership in India. Will India be able to manage this? So we took that approach rather than modifying the castle, rebuild it from scratch. So we did a complete risk framework analysis, tailored it to India conditions, and then decided on which controls to build. We built on those controls, and then eventually over a period of time we were able to streamline that process. So biggest learnings, two, number one, plug and play doesn't work in people. The second learning, these failures, they teach you to stay humble, to actually manage stress conditions. Taking that calculated risk or calculated decision, okay, let's rebuild the castle, which was something I would say everyone is skeptical about. But we went in that direction and it really helped. So today, like few years down the line, if we say that we have been able to build world-class processes back here in India. So I think what's important is I'm not asking you to be risk averse, but take that calculated risk, embrace that risk, understand it fully, and then proceed further. Rather than trying that lift and shift or plug and play. Honestly, that doesn't work. The projects which you might have studied in your textbooks, if you want to apply those project principles in the practical world, you cannot apply them exactly the same way. You will have to customize it. Market से हम कपड़ा खरीदते हैं to get our suit stitched. What does tailor do? It takes our measures, and everyone has a different measure. But he customizes our suit for each one specifically. Right? That's what is important when you are out in the market and trying to build a process or do whatever in your careers. Having that open mindset rather than that rigid mentality that मैंने तो यही पढ़ा है तो मैं ऐसे ही करूँगा. That doesn't really work. You need to unlearn and relearn, and in the today's dynamic environment, frequently.
That's a great learning for us to how to rebuild and learn from our failure. So we have also noticed that you have worked extensively on stakeholder management and global finance process migrations. So, what according to you are the key factors behind successfully managing cross-border teams and ensuring process alignment across geographies?
I think that is a difficult one because stakeholder management is something which always is a difficult thing, and I would say once again the same philosophy: one size fits all doesn't really work. What is important is when you are managing cross-border stakeholders, it's important to understand the culture. So, if I have to quote an example, I have managed stakeholders in UK. I have managed stakeholders in Switzerland. I have managed stakeholders in Mexico. I have managed stakeholders in Hong Kong and Singapore. 4 different varied geographies. Everywhere, you guys know, it's a different culture altogether. The way I interact with my UK stakeholders is different, and the Switzerland stakeholder is actually different. And Hong Kong, Singapore stakeholders, it's like, I would say, extremely difficult to manage them because they feel somewhere they are the boss, they know everything. Mexico, they are as humble as we are, even more humble. English is not our first language. As we jokingly say sometimes, we do not speak broken English, we just round it off to our nearest mother tongue. That's what Mexico is. Their main language is Spanish. English for them is as broken as ours. So even if someone doesn't know English well, he can still deal with a Mexico stakeholder because even they don't know English well. But if I put that same person with a UK stakeholder, you just cannot. It's important to understand who fits where, what is their culture, what is their style of working, and what is the time zone they are working. In that time zone, you have to deal with them because they are the people who shut down at 5. We guys here in India, we have made that hustle culture of 12 hours, 14 hours work days. But they, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. means 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I still remember back in 2016, I was in London and my UK stakeholder, she told me that she will be coming to office late tomorrow. I said, okay, fine. I reached office next day and I found her walking into office at 8:15 a.m. I just casually asked her, you said you were going to be late. Yeah, I had some work in the bank, so I came 15 minutes late. So for them, that 15 minutes late was something which was important and needed to be called out. Do you see that kind of culture here in India? Probably not. It's okay to be 15 minutes late. Right? Indian Standard Time, IST becomes Indian Stretchable Time. You stretch it based on your comfort. So, if a meeting has to start at 12, there has to start at 12. You will be called out invariably if it starts at 1 minute past 12. You have wasted 1 minute and they will call it out. So it's important to understand that mindset and manage them accordingly. You know, if a particular person, he likes to read spreadsheets. So whenever you present to him, you will present him a spreadsheet. And the other person, he likes powerful PowerPoint slides. When you present to that person, you will present him slides. If you go other way around, even if the data is talking the same thing, you are gone. That understanding of expectation, how their culture works, that is really, really important when you manage cross-border. Managing people in India across different locations is absolutely okay. It's like you know how they are like somewhat like you. There could be some cultural differences between, say, North India, South India, East India, West India, but still, at the end of the day, it's India. But when it comes to UK or Switzerland or Hong Kong, you just cannot, as I say, one size fit all doesn't really work.
So this shows that how adaptability is one of the major or important quality that young financial students should have. So, sir, what are the other qualities you believe make a finance leader successful in a global organization?
See, there are a lot of qualities, but I'll only talk about one quality, and that one quality is the most underrated quality according to me. And I am now just naming it, and I want to know from you guys and from the room, have you ever heard of this quality? The name of that quality is perspective. Have you ever heard perspective as a quality?
Sir, according to me, yeah, perspective is a quality because you build a perspective over time. Like you are a professional in finance from such a long time. I am a student, so our perspectives will differ. Your perspective will have quality, will have experience, while mine would have just a guess. So that is a quality according to me.
Yes, that is a quality, but have you read it in your textbooks?
No.
You would have subjects like management and all in MBA and in whatever you have studied. You read about qualities like leadership, adaptability, emotional quotient, executive presence, communication skills. All these are given. They are non-negotiable. But what experience teaches you is the perspective which you have for every situation you are in. Because you have all the data, you have all the insights. What do you do with that if you don't have a perspective? As finance professionals, I have data, I have insights, unless I have a perspective as to what needs to be done with that, what information should I extract from it, what insights should I build from it, and how does that align with my organizational objectives? How does it align, say, for example, with my personal objectives? All that data is meaningless. That perspective, building that perspective, weaving it into that information, weaving it into that insight, and then deriving the final output which you require. Without perspective, kuch hai nahi. It's like foundation, I would say. You can have your spreadsheets running into millions of rows and columns. You can use tools like Power BI and stuff like that, make some analysis. But when you are making that analysis, what is the output you are generating? For what you are generating, that perspective is extremely important. So, what is important is to have that end-to-end visibility. Let me give you one example. In one of my teams previously, there was this guy who was doing the accounting. So his job was to post accounting entries. So there were certain what you call standard entries which were posted every month, like accrual entries, provision entries, or depreciation entries. And there were certain business driven entries which changed every month, for which we needed information from the business. When business provided us the information, based on that, those entries were created. So, one fine day, we were like hitting that monthly close cycle. This guy came to me and said, "Sir, I have received information and I don't know what to do with it." I cannot create the entry this month. Okay, show me. And when that data I saw, I probably took 10 to 15 minutes to understand it. I compared it with my previous month's data and stuff. And then I created the entry and gave him post this. After the month close, we always have that kind of introspection as to what went well, what went wrong, what are the learnings, so that we do not repeat the same learnings next month, same mistakes next month. So that's when I questioned that guy. Whatever you were doing month on month from that data, did you really understand? Or you just followed the steps which were told to you? He just followed the steps. So this month, if something additional came in there, he was clueless. So it's for you to decide what do you want to do in your career. Follow that set SOP and do your task, or open up your mind, question what you are doing, why you are doing, what is the bigger picture. The entry which I am passing, what impact does it have on my balance sheet? And it was some investment related data that month, additional, some sale had happened. So you had to additionally book that profit and loss on sale. Every month investments were happening, so you were just booking entries for investment. So that was a simple entry, investment debit to bank. And now when you sold off an investment, you have that additional entry of selling that investment and calculating that profit and loss and booking it. You don't have that perspective. That perspective, that's when I told my team that perspective is very important. SOP देख के काम करोगे कोई भी कर लेगा. I don't need qualified professionals. Even a simple graduate will do it for me. If you guys are qualified professionals, be it CAs, MBAs, CMAs, whatever qualification you have, it's important you question what you are doing. You challenge that status quo. You understand that what is the bigger picture of that one entry which you are passing. Got it, guys?
So it was literally insightful for me. Sir, so my next question would be, how should CFO or a financial leader in a company balance innovation investment versus risk management?
I think the way I look at it, biggest mistake which CFOs make is when it comes to risk, they strategize how do we avoid the risk. I was telling someone a few minutes back upstairs, the idea is not avoiding the risk, because risk is inherently there. Even if you walk out of that building, of this building and cross the road, you have that risk, right? You cannot avoid the risk. What is important is you understand your risk, you manage it, you embrace it, you diversify it, you distribute it. Because avoidance of a risk gives you another risk, that is risk of stagnancy. If you do not embrace risk, what will happen? Someone else will, and that person will, that company will reshape the market. And you will eventually become redundant. Everyone is aware of Nokia. Do they exist? Of course they exist, but do they exist the same way they used to 2 decades ago? Kodak has pivoted to, I guess, real estate or something. They were market leaders of camera. They didn't pivot themselves. They didn't evolve with times. Now everyone has a camera. Here also I see a mobile phone recording us. Earlier there used to be big cameras. Nokia didn't embrace Android and got off market. Right? So what is important is to understand when to take that calculated risk. Because holding yourself back doesn't really help. Growth is important for everyone. वो कहते हैं ना, लाला को पैसा मांगता है. अगर लाला को पैसा मांगता है तो whatever money we have, that needs to earn more money. And if we do not take a calculated risk, we will not earn. And if we do not earn, we will eventually be wiped off from the market. That is I would say, a larger risk which we run if we do not take a risk. So these CFOs, they need to understand that from innovation standpoint, from internal digital hubs standpoint, they need to have that budget aside every quarter. That might dent their quarterly profitability, but the returns will be in the long run.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, so as you are at a good position at a very good firm currently, so and you also talked about the perspective quality. So my next question is just a little elaboration for that. Beyond technical expertise, what non-obvious skill defines successful financial leaders?
I think I would name 3 skills here. The first one, I call it analytical empathy. So, there are 2 words, analytics, you understand that, churning the data, empathy. Churning the data with human judgment. Because data churning these days can be done by any tool. But when you put that human judgment on that output, इस output का मतलब क्या है? What story is it telling? That is something which is very, very important. Having that analytical empathy. The second one I would say is digital literacy. So digital literacy, minded guys, I'm not asking you to learn coding. But I said that earlier, I'm repeating. You guys need to understand the algorithms which are behind that coding. You guys understand the difference between the code and algorithm, right? A program and algorithm. Algorithm is the underlying logic of that program. If you are able to understand the algorithm, then you can actually decide whether the code output is right or not. And the third one to me is curiosity. Where I said curiosity and adaptability. The term which I used earlier, learn, unlearn, relearn. Be curious, ask questions, get out of your comfort zones. Because if you stay in your comfort zones, you will never know what's outside. As we say, this turtle or tortoise, they prefer to stay inside their shell. So they don't know what's outside. Come out of your shells, think out of the box. When you think out of the box, when you ask obvious questions which no one has asked. You guys use credit cards. How many of you have Visa or MasterCard? Can you raise your hands? Okay, very good. How many of you have Amex credit cards? American Express. No one? Diners? No one? Okay. नहीं है तो क्या ही कर सकते हैं. But do you know the basic difference between the Visa card or MasterCard and the Amex credit card? Visa card or MasterCard, how many digits does it have? 16. Amex has 15. Have you ever thought why? Well, you guys weren't even aware of this. But someone needs to ask that question. If all cards have 16 digits, why Amex has 15? Because they have the underlying algorithm of the Amex cards. They have built it differently. Do you know, like, these 16 digits of the card, in the set of 4, they mean different things. First 4 decide whether it's a Visa or a Master. The second 4 is the bank code from where it is issued. The third 4 is around the country or location, and the last 4 is the random 4 digits. And do you know, there is a way that whenever someone presents you a card number, you can actually go ahead and check whether that's a valid card number or not. If you don't know it, Google it. You will find the answer. There is a way. It's like when I say 16 digit card number, it doesn't mean that जितने भी permutations, combinations possible है, that is the repository we have to have that card number. No. There are only limited set of numbers which follow a certain algorithm. That only can be a valid card number. And how do I know? Have I read about credit card, or like have I done some course on credit cards? When I started using credit cards, I guess some 20 years back, it was a kind of luxury. It wasn't as prevalent as they are today. So that was something I just had that curiosity that if I'm applying for my first credit card, let me know what is it all about. And then when I read, that's when I got to know. We all use credit cards, but we are not asking those basic questions. That curiosity is extremely important. Whatever you are doing, if a thing is done in a particular way, why this way? Why not that way? I'm not asking you to disrupt the things. किसी भी कंपनी में जाओ, ये नहीं होना चाहिए day 1 पे ऐसे नहीं ऐसा करेगा आज से. If a process is being done in a particular way, there is a logic behind it. But what's important is you understand that logic. And then if you have better way of doing, that's where you challenge it. So adaptability in this changing world, extremely important. So I passed my CA back in year 2000. GST कब आया? 2016 में. There are quite a lot of my fellow CAs, my friends, who are into practice. So can they tell their clients, सर मैंने तो सन 2000 में पास किया था, मेरे को GST पढ़ाया नहीं गया था, तो I don't know GST. You have to study and serve your clients. Law will evolve, regulations will evolve, technology will evolve, and with that, you will have to keep the pace with that evolvement. That's extremely important.
Sir, so one more question that I would have from your experience and the leadership that you possess. So what's the most difficult strategic call you have had to make as a leader till now? What do you think about it?
Question very difficult word. Okay. Most difficult strategic call. I think I can quote one example of that was around building a team, wherein there were certain new processes which we were getting into, and we had to build a team around that. So we were hiring, and we were looking for certain set of skill sets, but it had to be a fast-paced hiring, and we couldn't wait for like 3 months or 6 months kind of time frame for people to join in. So we had that weekend drive. So now during the weekend drive, we had like around 300 walk-ins. We were like 7-8 people who had to manage those interviews and stuff. So you can understand the kind of pressure, 7-8 people managing 300 interviews, first round and then second round of for whatever selected candidates. Do you think it was possible to make the right judgment about the candidates? Humanly not possible. मतलब ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग वो तो आप नॉर्मल एक घंटे के आधे घंटे के इंटरव्यू में भी यू कैन जस्ट मेक सम वेग जजमेंट. एक्चुअल जजमेंट तो स्टिल इज नॉट पॉसिबल, बट इन दैट सिनेरियो you could just see certain basic traits, certain technical knowledge, and if you find that is pass, you pass that. If you find that is fail, you just fail that. So what really happens in that kind of scenario? You may end up missing on some very good candidates because you didn't ask the right questions, and you may even end up hiring some wrong candidates because they were excellent in the technical questions to ask, but otherwise they were probably not so good a hire. But the kind of pressure we had from the top management at that time, we had to close our hiring in less than a month. So the first question was, what's the notice period? If it is 3 months, you are rejected straight away. Because I need people who can join us in a month. So if you are rejecting that 3 months notice period while a candidate, what are you effectively doing? You are reducing or shrinking your talent pipeline. But that was a call that had to be made. And from that drive, at the end of the day, whatever number we finalized was probably meeting only 30 to 40% of our requirement. And that one day experience, I did some introspection, and next week when I was in office, I got into a meeting with the senior stakeholders along with, of course, the other colleagues who were there with me, and told them, if we have to build a team, 30 to 40% of compromised hiring is okay, but I need experts for my remaining 60 to 70% of hiring. So to kickstart your work, these people, we will train them and we will manage, but I need experts for the remaining. I need to wait for 3 months, whatever the time frame is. I need right candidates so that at least I have some good people whom I can trust and rely in my process. It was very difficult to convince the leadership, honestly, but that was the strategic call I had made, and I was adamant about it. And I had even gone to an extent that if that is something you guys are not looking forward to, I am quitting this team. Not that I cannot manage the team or I cannot train the team, but if you are leading 40-50 member team, you need at least half the people who have that self-drive and work on their own. You cannot have everyone who is looking up to you. Sir, ab kya kar rahe? You need people who can actually take their own decisions. And eventually they agreed that we cannot compromise on the process from the long run standpoint. It took a week, 10 days to get that final outcome. But finally they agreed. Let's wait and watch for the remaining hiring. Let these people join in and let's kickstart the work at least. So I think that was one thing which also taught me, I would say, and that's important for all of us here, is speak up. And speak up for the right thing at the right time. Because अगर आप बोलोगे नहीं तो मना तो आज भी है, बोलोगे तो शायद हाँ हो जाए. You agree? So that was something like speaking up assertively with the right intent to the right set of people at the right time. Things will eventually fall in place.
So we have few of the last questions, and then we'll open the floor for the questions from audience.
Okay, so our next question revolves around recently implemented the Banking Law Act 2025 by Indian government, which brings significant reforms in governance, auditing and depositor protection across both public and cooperative banks. So as a senior finance leader at HSBC, how do you view these changes in terms of their potential to strengthen the overall transparency and efficiency of the Indian banking ecosystem?
So first and foremost things, I will be very honest here. I haven't gone through the recent banking law amendments that have come, but yeah, I'm aware of the sentiments which led to these changes. And from the banking ecosystem standpoint, what was really important was consumer protection. Over a period of time, like over last few years, you might be aware, quite a few banks failed or were on the verge of failing, and they were bailed out by larger banks like SBI and all. And what really happens at that point in time, for no fault of yours, your hard-earned money gets frozen. All you can withdraw is like 1,000, 2,000 and stuff. So that consumer protection was extremely important. We had schemes like DICGC, deposit insurance schemes of the government, but that also like the cover was like, I guess, 1 lakh or 2 lakh per person kind of thing. So, say for example, a retired person who has worked his life and say saved 50 lakhs in a bank, say small cooperative bank, he is from a small town, and that bank fails. He saved 50 lakhs, he is covered for 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. Isn't it unfair on him? Why should he pay for the bank's failure? He trusted the bank with his money. That is why these laws were extremely important. The second thing was data privacy. All of us, daily we get a lot of scam calls, right? Sir, overdraft ले लीजिए, sir loan ले लीजिए, ये ले लीजिए, credit card ले लीजिए. Everyone gets, right? So our data is being compromised. There's a website, am I being duped or am I being something like that? I don't remember the name. I'll share the name later. To go to that website, put your email ID there. And if your email ID has been compromised, you will get the details. You will get the details over last few years, like over this millennium, this century. How many times your data was compromised and sold to someone? So uh, those kind of tools are available, but they are not being propagated properly. Are you aware of government launched app called M Kavach? Anyone who is using M Kavach? Mobile Kavach. M Kavach is an app. It is launched by Government of India. You can download that app on your mobile, both on Android and iPhones, and you can run the scan of your mobile. That app is going to actually tell you which apps have safety risks, which permissions you have granted to the apps which are stealing your data. Because a lot of times our friends say, यार ये ऐप डाउनलोड कर लो, इसमें ये कैशबैक मिलता है. For cashback, you downloaded an app, you enjoyed your 100 rupees cashback, and your data worth lakhs of rupees went to the fraudsters. So it's important that these things are more propagated, and people are made actually educated and aware of these things. And it's like the example which I gave, the acts, your GDPR, Global Data Privacy in Europe, DPDP, India में जो है. Do you know what is the penalty in DPDP? The penalty in DPDP Act starts for minor offences at rupees 10,000 per offence, and it even goes up to rupees 250 crores. सुना है आज तक इंडिया में इतनी बड़ी पेनल्टी? That act has prescribed, and that's important because that deterrent needs to be there. So as I gave that disclaimer, I really haven't gone through whatever changes have come in, but the intent was largely consumer protection, and these were the areas where large focus has been. So I'm sure these will be the areas which will be focused in the new act.
Thank you so much, sir. So, on a personal note, outside of finance, what keeps you inspired or helps you maintain a work-life balance in a demanding industry?
So, I hope I will not have all guns blazing on me, but I am a person who hates work-life balance. I am a person who believes in life-work balance. When you call it work-life balance, what really happens is work is that outer circle and there is a life somewhere inside it. What you are trying to do is trying to adjust your life inside in your work domain. But when you flip that narrative and call it life-work balance, life is the outer circle and work comes somewhere inside it. So, what do you think? How should we live our life? Should we live to work or work to live?
We should live to work.
Live to work.
Oh, sorry, work to live. Work to live. I'm really sorry.
So, guys, why I have flipped this narrative? If you guys are aware of my LinkedIn page, in my featured post, you can find this post very prominently displayed, flipping the narrative from work-life balance to life-work balance. So when I say that I believe in life-work balance, to me, life comes first. उस लाइफ के बीच में मेरा एक ऑफिस आवर्स है. I follow those strict working hours. Of course, there will be days when you might have to devote something extra, which is absolutely okay. But till the time it doesn't become a routine, it's once in a while kind of thing. Or you know that every month, monthly closing cycle, you have those 2-3 days where you will have to stretch. But ठीक है, फिर बाकी दिन तो नहीं stretch कर रहे हैं ना. That's how we need to plan. So guys, it's a message for all of you. Get out of that hustle culture. ये जो 9 to 9, 12 घंटे, 14 घंटे, I don't believe in all that. I'm not saying मैंने ये सब किया नहीं, अपना टाइम था तो किया. But eventually I realized I missed a lot of things. And those things I cannot turn back the clock and go back to live them again. I don't want you guys or whosoever I'm interacting with, especially your age group, to miss on little moments of life. When was the last time you spent time on your own just enjoying the sunset at a beach? Forget sunset at a beach, sunset in Delhi. When was the last time you saw sunrise in Delhi? रात को 2-3 बजे तक तो हम अपने इंस्टाग्राम में लगे रहते हैं. So guys, it's important. Work-life balance बोल लो, life-work balance बोल लो. To have that personal space for yourself, for your near and dear ones, for your family, for your parents, for your spouse, for your kids, it's extremely important. Pull out that time. What I do, I have my fixed time. Like, say for example, every day dinner is something in my family, a rule everyone will have together. ये नहीं होगा कि एक उधर टीवी देख रहा है साथ में खा रहा है. Dinner will be on the dining table, served at 9. Everyone has to be there, and no mobile phones during dinner. So when you put those kind of restrictions and rules on yourself, that discipline comes from within. Otherwise, I am also a social media person. I am also active on LinkedIn. But वो आधे घंटे का जो डिनर है वो फैमिली के साथ है. So it's important we understand we got one life. Either we spend working or we spend living it our way. Work is important. I'm not saying it's not, but don't make it your only goal. You should work enough to live a good life, not live completely to work.
So that was quite a good personal insight. As a parting note, these are all the first year students. So what insight that we have not yet talked about would you like to impart to all the students with your experience and the time you have spent in the financial spectrum?
You've actually put a very good rider there. What we have not talked about yet.
Yes, sir.
Because we have talked about a lot of things. For you guys, I think what is important is to look at the spectrum as a whole, the range. Because whether it's about risk, whether it's about life, it's not a टॉस कॉइन. सिक्का उछाला, हेड्स आया तो ये करेंगे, टेल्स आया तो ये करेंगे. दैट्स हाउ नॉट वी नॉट टेक आवर लाइफ डिसीजंस, और डू वी? You need to prepare yourself for multiple outcomes. What is really important is when you build that spectrum, so you know you are working on a range of things, and something or the other will eventually work out, which is lying on your spectrum. Easier said than done. Ask 3 questions. First question is information. That is, do I have adequate information around this decision? Second question is capability. That is, do I have the capability or the network to handle if things go wrong? And the third is alignment. Whatever is the outcome of this risk which I am taking, this decision which I am making, whether it is aligned to my long-term goals, long-term aspirations. If 2 out of these 3 tick, go for it. Just make sure it is aligning to your spectrum. It's not just a risk too exciting to take. So, I would say challenge that discomfort. Come out of your comfort zones, because the best opportunities to me, they lie beyond that wall of discomfort. If you continue to stay in your comfort zone, you will stay wherever you are. So 3 things, 3 questions: information, capability, and alignment. If any 2 tick yes, go for it. And last and a very, very important point, build relationships, build network. Because if things fail, this network is going to be your safety net. Networking is a skill which is extremely, extremely important in today's world. And stay connected with your network. Lot of you phone a friend of yours only when you are in need. ये जरूरत है यार. How many times you phone a friend just to ask, hey, how are you doing? Let's just catch up casually. So building those relationships, building that network and investing in it, extremely important. That is going to help you lifelong.
The floor is open for Q&A.
Like the community members, the mics that was the mic that was handed, you can then please. Anyone has questions?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Saurabh Gupta. I am pursuing PhD in Financial Management here. Sir, first of all, thank you so much for the wonderful insight. It was a truly great session. And my question is, since I have read your journey and you were in risk and banking for a very long period of time, what are some career insights that you would like to give to us, finance people who would like to move forward in risk career or investment banking and banking as a whole?
I know you asked me this question because I am from banking field. So, see, banking career today is extremely exciting because banking is evolving, banking is changing. But understand one thing, do not limit yourself to a kind of bank. When I say kind of bank, like if that you only want to work with an investment bank, or you only want to work with a global MNC bank, or you only want to work with a nationalized bank. These days there is a boom in these fintechs, which are all AI backed fintechs. They are doing excellent, and they are the future, and they give you immense opportunity of learning and growth. Most of these fintechs will eventually tie up with some larger bank to provide them platforms for, say, payments or loans or deposits. Lot of them are already there in the market. So what is important is don't limit yourself that I want to work in this particular domain only. Stay open and curious for all of them. Secondly, when you talk about your technical domains, do not limit yourself to risk. Risk is an exciting domain, it's evolving, it's changing, and it will continue to evolve. If that is your core interest, go for it. But at the same time, if you get, say for example, an opportunity in financial accounting domain, or financial reporting domain, or regulatory reporting domain of a bank, go for it. Don't think I have done risk, so I will only take a risk role. Because when you go into those core operations roles, what really happens is the day-to-day nuances of the core operations, they actually teach you how do we, what you call, manage risk on day-to-day basis. So that actually gives you a complete end-to-end flair of, you can say, risk management. So you are living your risk management on a daily basis, and you are learning something new. And that hunger to learn, that needs to continue. That's what my advice would be.
Thank you, sir.
So we'll take one more question.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Aditya Gupta. Sir, as we know, UPI has a great penetration in India, but still there is government is trying to impose some taxes or fees on UPI transactions. Sir, does it will affect the penetration or the such a high growth?
So to me, that is still, I would name it a rumor that government is imposing fees on UPI transactions. What our RBI governor said was UPI cannot be free perpetually. He didn't say that customers have to pay. That what he meant was the UPI service providers like Google Pay or Paytm or PhonePe and lot more, what they need to do is find ways to absorb their cost. He never mentioned specifically that consumers have to pay. So right now, at least as of now, I am not aware of any plans where government is imposing fees on UPI.
Thank you so much, sir.
That was a wonderful conversation, sir. We genuinely appreciate you sharing your experiences, insights, and practical wisdom with us today. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stay connected for more meaningful conversations with industry leaders who are shaping the future of business and finance. Until next time, goodbye and take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you everyone. And thank you for inviting me here today. It was pleasure talking to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful and thought-provoking session. I am sure your journey and experiences have provided us with a deeper understanding of what it takes to lead with vision, passion, and authenticity in today's dynamic business environment. Your presence has been both enlightening and inspiring.
On behalf of the corporate interface team and the students at Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Saurabh Gupta for joining us today and sparing time from his busy schedule to cherish this podcast session with his expertise.
As a token of gratitude and respect, I would now like to invite our esteemed faculty, Dr. Gautam Negi, to present a memento to a distinguished guest.
Sir, your journey and achievements are truly remarkable and we are grateful for the opportunity to learn from your experiences. We eagerly anticipate future opportunities to collaborate and learn from your insights, and we look forward to welcoming you back to our institute soon. On that note, we conclude our podcast session for today. Thank you everyone. Thank you, sir.